What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. And as you guys can tell by the title of the video, yeah, I actually have a deck profile. So Saturday's video, I'm gonna be finishing up the rest of the news for Yu-Gi-Oh, of course, which that will feature the a sort of like they'll feature a sort of a collab that Yu-Gi-Oh has done with Power Pros, and I'm also going to be talking about some more legacy cards in the History Archive collection set, and then of course the Tactical Masters theme review, so to speak. So I will be talking about those, including the new cards that will be in Tactical Master, or at least the first new cards that will be in Tactical Masters. Which, by that logic, next Tuesday's video probably a deck profile, probably, but we'll see. But yeah, as you guys can tell, it is a Kuriboh deck profile. I don't know why I did this, but I did it anyway. So I do want to give a shout out to Dark Arm Duelist for the idea. Big shout outs to him. I took his idea and I put my own spin on it. I even took out a few cards, and I added several others just because I thought just because I had the theory that those cards weren't as good as the ones that I brought in. The extra deck, I did keep it the way it was for the most part. I did add a few cards just to showcase how good it was. His version was a little bit different. If you guys want to check out that video, you can. Should be on the front of Dark Arm Duel's page on YouTube. So big shout outs to Dark Arm Duel's. No copyrights, of course. Let me see. I might be able to look it up. Let me see. It was actually a deck that he did not too long ago. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 3 weeks ago, actually. But yeah, so what's cool about this deck is that it features the new cards that were used that were released in Brothers of the Legend. It even features 2 copies of a card that we have yet to see get printed in here in the TCG. We might see it in a future set, who the hell knows, but it's just so good. I did some extensive test play with this deck. It is just absolutely insane. If you guys want to see the deck list, I'll be sure to post it on my I will be posting it on my Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me there. The link is in the description. And without any further ado, let's get straight into it. And if you guys do enjoy this deck profile and you guys want to see more in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links will be in the description. And if you guys want to send me fan mail, my address will also be in the description as well. Let's get straight into it. First up, we have the Kuriboh brothers and Curry Babylon. Curry Babylon is a pretty nasty card. I have to admit. It's a 5-star Dark Fiend with 1500 attack and 1000 defense, and it says gains 300 attack for each Kuriboh monster you control and in your grave. You can only use one of the following effects per turn, and only once that turn. If you have more monsters in your grave than your opponent, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main or battle phase, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon five monsters, which are obviously the 5 Kuriboh brothers, from your hand and or graveyard in attack position. So what's cool about this is that this card is basically like the 5 Kuriboh brothers are basically similar to the UAs, where you can tag out the Kuriboh brothers for none other than Kuriboh. And if you have and you can also you can easily as well go into the red hasty horse, special summon him, and then go into your rank 5 place, which there's a couple of rank 5s in this deck, and I'll explain how and I'll explain what those rank 5s are. But what's even more cool is that there's also Astral Kuribo that's in this set, and I'll explain why I kept this card in the deck, because with Dark Arm Jules' build, he basically had this style, but just a little bit different. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than normal, but I'll explain why I kept the Astral Kuribo. Now for the 4 of the 5 Kuribo brothers, each of the Kuribo brothers has their own effect, so to speak. So we have Kuriboh. Excuse me. So first up, we have Kuriboh, which his effect, excuse me, reads: when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can discard 1 card, add 1 Kuriboh monster from your deck to your hand, except this card. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can discard a trap that target a face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1500 attack until the end of the turn. So, truth be told, I am running three traps in the main. I don't have a side, unfortunately. If you guys want to see, if you guys want to see me do a Kuriboh side deck profile, make sure you guys let me know in the comments. I might come up with something to stick with the theme of the Kuriboh of the Kuriboh brothers, including this card. But the 3 traps you're most likely going to be using, but basically you can take one of your traps, send it to your graveyard from your hand, and target, I'll say your opponent's, I don't know, I'll say Crystal Wayne, let's say that. It loses 1500 attack, in which case Kuriboh's attack would go up to possibly 3k, 4k, I don't know how much thousand attack it'll have on board, but Kuriboh with its effect can just outlast pretty much almost any monster in the game. Emphasis on almost, because there might be some that Kuriboh might not be able to get over, but with the 5 Kuriboh brothers being in the graveyard, that's an additional 1500. That's a 3000 beat stick on board. That's the big ass horn that Kuriboh's gonna have. The big ass unicorn horn on its head. It's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty to say the very least. Next up, we have Kuriboh, in which its effect reads: when this card or another Kuriboh monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand that lists the card Kuriboh in its text. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, while you control another Kuriboh monster, you can change the attack of all of the monsters you control to 0 until the end of the turn, and if you do, negate the attack. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a shield and sword type of effect. But what's cool about this is that it's spell and trap Rhoda. So the cards, as far as the Kuriboh spell and traps, you can add cards like multiply, cards like detonate. You can add cards like the Fluid Summoning Kuriboh, and even 5-star Twilight, all of which I'm actually running in the deck, which I'll explain once we get to that point. But you can basically add one of those to your hand, and not only that, you can actually just shield and sword your opponent's. You can just shield and sword your monster's attack straight to 0. Again, technically it's kind of like shield and sword, but That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. But it's also a negate attack. A negate attack as well, because it says, and if you do, negate the attack. Literally. Next up, we have Kuriboh. And what's cool about Ba is that its effect is just absolutely insane. When this card or another Kuriboh monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon a monster with 300 attack and 200 defense from your deck except this card. So basically, you can summon Kuriboh, 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 or pretty much any other Kuriboh that you may have. You know, Kuriboh, you know, Clear Kuriboh, Astral Kuribo, could literally be anything, which is insane. You can only use this effect once per turn. You contribute this card you control and one each of the Kuriboh brothers to summon Babylon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So this acts as like a way for you to summon Babylon from your graveyard if you used it as link material, which is a possibility, but this card is absolutely, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely insane. Now for what is it? What is it again? Kuriboh. Kuriboh is the name. And its effect is a quick effect. You can discard this card, target a Kuriboh monster you control, it gains 1500 attack. You contribute this card you control and one each of the Kuriboh brothers from your hand or field, add one Kuriboh from your deck or grave to your hand, and immediately as this effect resolves, normal summon a fiend from your hand. So what's cool about this is that you can actually summon Kuriboh to your directly to the field. It's just absolutely insane. It's just absolutely insanity. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm actually switching up the deck because I realized that because that you can add Curry Bandit, I'm actually adding the one Curry Bandit. I'm trying to figure out what I want to replace it with. You know what? I think I will get rid of this card. And with that being said, we do have obviously Curry Bandit. So what's cool about Curry Bandit is that the effect is just absolutely insane. During the end phase, if this card was normal summoned this turn, you contribute this card, excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, add one excavated spell trap to your hand, and send the remaining cards to the grave. If this was similar, if the effect was if the effect was the anime effect where you keep all the spells and traps and the monsters go to your graveyard, this card would be broken. This card would be broken, but sadly it is not. It is unfortunate, but it's basically Pot of Duality on steroids, which is just absolutely insane. And plus with Kuriboh, it's basically a free normal summon in addition to your regular normal summon, which is just absolutely insane. Now for the rest of the Kuriboh cards, we have 2 copies of the Jump promo and Kuriboh. If you guys have never seen this card before, it's a 1-star Dark Fiend with 300 attack and 200 defense, and its effect reads: when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can discard this card, target a monster and out of the grave, except this card, special summon it to your field, but send it to the grave during the end phase. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the grave, you can add a monster reborn from your deck or grave to your hand, except during the end phase of this turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. So what's cool about this is that this is basically double monster reborn. So what I mean by that is you can use this card. You can use this card, resummon one of your opponent's, I'll say 6-star monsters. I'll say one of your opponents. I'll say one of their link monsters. Let's just say that, which would allow you to go into your own link plays, and as well, which is pretty cool. You summon their monster, and if this card were to be destroyed by battle or card effect, because they rank 2, you can add a monster reborn from your deck or grave directly to your hand. Which, again, graveyard, it's as if you have 1, 2, 3 monster reborns in your deck, which is just absolutely insane. Then, of course, we have 2 copies of Astral Kuribo. I believe this was released in Dimension of Chaos, if I remember correctly. But what's cool about this is that this basically acts as sort of like a block attack of sorts, a much more better version of block attack. So the effect reads, So the effect reads, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand to the grave, change the attacking monster to the defense position. When you ritual summon, you can banish the card from your grave as one of the monsters required for the summon. So this basically, if you were using if you were playing a ritual based deck, this card would just basically allow you, just help you go into your ritual plays so much quicker. But you're mainly using this card for its battle position switch, for its first effect, which is just absolutely insane. Then, of course, we've got the 3 copies of Kuriboh. The first hand trap ever made in history, in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't even have to explain what the card does. I don't even have to explain. Next up, we have the 1 copy of Clear Kuriboh. You're wondering, why am I only running 1? What's cool about this is that this is the only one of only a few of the Kuriboh monsters that's a light fairy. So it's a 1-star light fairy with 300 attack and 200 defense, and its effect reads, when your opponent activates a monster effect that would inflict damage, as a quick effect, you can discard this card and negate the activation. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, banish the card from your grave, draw 1 card, and if it's a monster, you can special summon it, then change the attack target to it. You can only use this effect once per turn. So this basically just ensures that you can go into cards like Curry Babylon and Link Slayer, and even also, funny enough, Dasher, which I'm running in this deck, funny enough, without any bullshit, which is just absolutely insane. Then we have Kuriboh. Yes, Kuriboh, which is a 1-star light fiend, 300 attack, 200 defense, and its effect reads, at the end of the battle phase, you can discard this card, target a monster in your grave that was destroyed by battle sent at this turn, special summon it. When a opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish the card from your grave, target any number of Kuriboh monsters in your grave, special summon them. This basically acts as 2 more monster reborn. So you basically have what? 2, 4, 6, 7 monster reborns in your deck. So you have 4 copies of Reborn off of the effects, off of both effects of and Kuriboh. You have 2 more in the effect in the form of Kuriboh, and then you have the last one, which is obviously Monster Reborn itself, which is just absolutely insane. Then, of course, we have the 3 copies of Astral Kuribo. This is actually a really cool one, because if you guys have never seen this card before, I don't think... Did I talk about this? I think I talked about this on the channel when Brothers of Legend was announced. When they announced the release of Brothers of Legend. So I did talk about this, which is crazy. But it's a 1-star light fiend with 100 attack and defense, and its effect reads, you can reveal 1 number of Xyz monster in your extra deck. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, this card's level becomes the revealed monster's rank. Also, while it is face up, in the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except number Xyz monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. A number Xyz monster that was summoned using this card as a material gains this effect. Cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. So it acts as sort of like a protection for cards like number 39 Utopia, number 19 Freezadon, number 61 Bulk of Swords, which both those cards I'm running in this deck, which I'll explain why here in a little bit. But this card basically acts as like a shield for your number Xyz monsters where they can't be destroyed by battle, or card effects, which is just absolutely insane. They can be targeted, but they can't be destroyed, which is just absolutely insane. Then, of course, for the non-Kuriboh monsters, if you will, I am actually running the Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer package. So I've got the one Dasher and the one Celestial. Celestial is basically a pot of greed, which is hilarious. But what's even more cool about it is its other effects. It says, when this card declares an attack, you can target a face-up spell your opponent controls and destroy it. Destroy it. If you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. While you have no cards in your in your hand, except the turn, this card was sent to the grave, banish the card, and a Destiny Hero monster from your grave, draw 2 cards. Go and use this effect once per turn. So, again, it's a pot of greed. So, if you have both Dasher and Celestial in your grave, you banish both and you draw 2 easily. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Dasher, on the other hand, is another way for you to summon Kuriboh directly to your hand, directly to your field from your hand, if you drew it during your draw phase, which is just absolutely insane. It's just absolutely insane. I never thought that Dasher would be this good in 2022, given the fact that it was released in Power of the Duels back in, 2006, if I remember correctly. Then, of course, I am running 2 copies of Red Hasty Horse, I believe is the name. Red-haired Hasty Horse. Yes, Red-haired Hasty Horse, which is basically a Cyber Dragon of sorts, but with a big condition. So the effect reads, if there is a column with no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand and attack position to your zone in that column. You can only special summon red-haired Hasty Horse once per turn this way. If another card is placed in this card's column, destroy this card. Once per turn, you can have this card's original attack for the rest of the turn, and if you do, it can attack your opponent directly. Yeah. Not much else to say about it. The only reason why I cut this down to 2 was because I needed to find room for the Curry Bandit, and taking out the third horse was the best way to do it, because of the fact that I already have the Astral Kuribo, and with this card and Astral Kuribo, you can just easily make Freezadon or Volcasaurus right off the bat. So that's why I decided to cut it to 2. But this one I decided to keep it at 3, and that is Link Slayer, which is a very interesting card. So the effect reads, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn... My Fire Stick just slept. There we go. My Fire Stick decided to sleep on me. Once per turn, you can discard up to 2 cards, target that many spell traps on the field, and destroy them. So this basically acts as sort of like a Twin Twister, but with the cost of discarding 2 cards. So what's cool about this is that if you were to discard Curry Babylon and I'll say Kuriboh, even if you discarded them, you can still activate a card like say 5-star Twilight, target the Link Slayer, send it to the graveyard, summon the 5 Kuriboh brothers, and then you can either go into one of your rank 1 Exceeds plays, or go into Curry Babylon to deal a lot of damage. But in this sense, you're most likely going to go after one of the rank 1 monsters, which I'll explain what they are here in a little bit. But still, it's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool play. But again, it's a Twin Twister. It's a Cyber Dragon Twin Twister at the cost of discarding 2 cards, which is kind of a bad Twin Twister, to be honest. Then to round out the monsters, we have two copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Jester Confine. If you guys have never seen this card before, this was released in Ancient Prophecy all the way back in 2008, 2009. Long time. That was a long time ago. What was it? What, 14 years ago? Holy shit. Long time, guys. Long time. But it's kind of hard to believe that it's now been I think as of this coming March, I think it'll be 20 years actually, 20 years that the game's been around, which is insanity. In which I might do something for that. I think I might do a deck profile or do like a massive opening of one of the older sets that I have in my collection. I might do that. If you guys want to see one or the other, let me know in the comments. But what's cool about Just a Confit is that it acts as basically a Cyber Dragon, but it also has another pretty cool party trick. You can only control one Just a Confit. You can special summon this card from your hand in attack position. If summoned this way, during your opponent's next end phase, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, return both that target and this face-up card to the hand. So it acts as a double compulsory evacuation device, which is just absolutely insane. Moving on into the spells, we've got 3 copies of 5-star Twilight. I don't have to say anything about this card except that except the fact that if you have Astral Kuribo is that what's cool about this play, the true play, the true strategy for Astral Kuribo is the fact that you need to have this card be the only one you have on the field. So you activate Astral Kuribo, target. You could do this if you wanted to, but you activate Astral Kuribo, target, I'll say, Volcasaurus, target the Volcasaurus, summon Astral Kuribo face up in attack position, which it becomes level 5. Activate 5-star Twilight, tribute the Astral Kuribo, summon the 5 Kuribo brothers, send those 5 to the grave, summon Kuriboh Babylon, activate the red-haired hasty horse, special summon him, go into Volcasaurus. That's a pretty nasty play. That is a pretty nasty play. It is just that's a nasty play. I don't have to say anything else about it except that is gross. Next up, we have 2 copies of the Fluid of Summoning Kuriboh. This basically is Rhoda to add a Kuriboh to your hand, but you're not going to be using this all that much. That's why it was kept at 2. So, it is what it is. Then, of course, we have Multiply. Yeah. Don't have to say anything else about it except token spam for none other than Link Kuriboh and go into your IP plays. It's just absolutely insane. It's absolutely insanity. Then of course we have the 2 copies of Detonate. So what's funny about this is that you can activate Detonate as Chainlink 1, Multiply as Chainlink 2, and if you have Kuriboh on your field, you send him to the graveyard, some of the tokens, which would then result, by that logic, Detonate would resolve. All of your tokens would be destroyed, and your opponent's monsters would also be destroyed as well, which is hilarious. It's a hilarious play, but it's so good. Then, of course, we got Fusion Destiny. You're wondering why this card. Here's the funny thing. There's a way that you can bypass the effect where it says but destroy during the end phase of the next turn. There's a way you can bypass it. So once you summon Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, you can activate Enforcer's effect, just target him and one of your opponents. I'll say one of your opponent's monsters, one of their more problematic monsters, destroy them, and during the next standby phase, it gets resummoned. You can resummon the card without any bullshit. I said this before when I did my Destiny Hero deck profile. If you guys have not checked it out, definitely watch it. It was insanity. But this card is its own Monster Reborn, just like just like the Kuriboh, just like the Ant Kuribo. It's its own Monster Reborn, which is just absolutely insane. And it says, and it says, if this card is just destroyed by battle or card effect, you can activate this effect. Special summon one Destiny Hero monster from your grave during the standby phase of the next turn. One Destiny Hero. It did not say except this card. Meaning, you can actually summon Phoenix Enforcer from your graveyard. It's just that crazy. It's just that crazy. And then to round out the spells, we got the Monster Reborn and the Call by the Grave, because you want your plays to actually go through. For the traps, we got the one copy of Awaken the Dragon, and you're wondering why. You'll find out once we get there. And then of course I got the one Solemn Strike and the one Solemn Warning. Moving on into the extra deck, I'm actually going to go from Link to Fusion instead of Fusion to Link. So for the links, we've got the one copy of Link Kuribo. The card speaks for itself, but I'll read off its effect anyway. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you contribute this card, change that opponent's monster's attack to 0 until the end of the turn. If this card is in your grave, as a quick effect, tribute a level 1 monster or special summon this card. You can only use this effect once per turn. So what's cool about this is that it's basically I guess sort of like an Omni. It's basically an endless loop when it comes to Kuribo, when it comes to this card, because if you activate Multiply, you can tribute Kuribo, summon the tokens, link one of those tokens off into Link Kuribo. You would basically have four. It's as if you have five Link Kuribos on your field. This card included, which is insane. Then of course we've got the Verde Anaconda for the Fusion Destiny plays. If Fusion Destiny is in the deck, this card basically just allows you to go into it, which is just absolutely broken. Then of course we've got the IAP Masquerena to help you go into cards like Access Code Target or even Avermax, which I'll explain those here in just a second. The Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn, don't have to explain. These cards are just absolutely busted. Phoenix focuses on the back row. Unicorn focuses on monsters that were basically on. It basically just focuses on just cards in general, which is insane. Access Code Target is still one of the most broken cards in the format. If you don't have, obviously you guys know I use Nexus for all of my deck profiles. But if you don't have Access Code Target, definitely a card like say Avermax and even also Borrelstar Dragon could also suffice. Even also Borrelguard Dragon as well could also help out as well, because they're still pretty busted, but they're nothing compared to Access Code Target if you were feeling that broken. Then of course the Avermax, this card is just absolutely insane. If you guys have never seen this card before, its effect reads: while this Link Summon card is on the field, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, their monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. Once per battle, during damage cal, if this card battles a special summon monster as a quick effect, you can make this card gain attack equal to that opponent's monster's attack during that damage cal only. If this Link Summon card you control is sent to the grave by an opponent's card, shuffle one card on the field into the deck. So this basically acts as like its own Kaluk the Moonshadow, which is just insane. It's just really good. Now for the rank 1 Xyz monsters, we've got the Lyralisks. So we have Lyralisk, Ensemble Robin, and Assemble Nightingale. Assemble Robin has a very, very broken effect. Gains 500 attack for each material attached to it. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters except during the damage step, You can detach a material from this card, target one of those special summon monsters, return it to the hand. If this card in your possession is sent to the grave by an opponent's card, you can target one other literalist monster in your grave, add it to your hand. Yeah, this again, this is basically a compulsory evacuation device in the form of in Xyz's form, which is insane. Then Assemble Nightingale is pretty cool. It's pretty cool because its effect reads, gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. This card can attack directly. While this card has material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can detach a material from this card until the end of the turn. Literalist monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, you take no battle damage. So what's cool about this is that if your opponent has a good amount of life points, this card basically gives you game on board easily. So let's see. So I'm gonna bring out my calculator on my phone because I don't remember math, obviously. So let's see, that'd be what, 5, so 200 times 5, that's what, 1,000? Yeah, so it's basically 1,000 times 5, so basically your opponent would be taking 5,000 damage per battle phase, and then if you have Babylon on your field with more Kuriboh monsters in your grave, this card could just basically attack per game, which is just insanity. Then, of course, we've got the one copy of Downward Magician. This is a very interesting card that was released in Legacy of the Valiant. I haven't seen that card in a long time. But if you guys are new to the game, and if you guys have never seen this card before, it's a rank 4 Dark Spellcaster Xyz with 2,100 attack and 200 defense. And it requires 2 level 4 spellcasters, but there's a way you can bypass that. Here it says, the effect reads, during your main phase 2, you can also Xyz summon this card by using a rank 3 or lower Xyz monster you control as material, in which case you transfer the materials to this card. This card gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. If this card battles, after damage count, detach material from this card. So, basically, 21, 1,200, that's what, 3,300, if I'm correct on that? Yeah, 3,300 damage. That basically ends it right there. So you basically, you would go Astral Kuribo, so you would go red-haired hasty horse, activate 5-star Twilight, summon the 5 Kuriboh brothers, Xyz them off into Nightingale, attack directly for 5,000 damage, or actually rather summon the Nightingale, activate Fusion Destiny, summon the Phoenix Enforcer, trigger the Enforcer's effect, summon to target him, and one of your opponent's cards, which could be the only one, send them both to the graveyard, go into your battle phase, attack for 5,000, then go into then go into your main phase 2, summon the Downer Magician. You're basically just off to the races there, which is not too bad. Next game, you're good to go. You're pretty much good to go from there, which is just absolutely insanity. Then, of course, we got the Volcasaurus and Friezadon. What's cool about Friezadon is that its effect reads, once per turn, if an Xyz monster you control would activate an effect by detaching an Xyz material, you can detach one material from this card instead of one of those Xyz materials. So what's cool about this is that if you were to activate Volcasaurus' effect, you don't need to detach Volcasaurus' materials. You can just detach Friezadon's Xyz material, and you're off to the races there. So So, Volcasaurus' effect reads, once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy that opponent's monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. This card cannot attack your opponent directly during the turn you activate this effect. So, it is unfortunate that you don't get to attack your opponent directly, but with assembled Nightingale, that won't be much of a problem. That won't be much of a problem. Now, for the reason why I am running the one Waken the Dragon is because I am running Cyber Dragon Infinity, and you guessed it, Zeus. I don't have to explain anything more about these two cards except Infinity with a bunch of materials going to Zeus. Zeus just says, fuck you. That's all it does. I don't have to say anything else. And then, of course, the Destroyer of Phoenix Enforcer, another card that just says, fuck you. I don't give a damn. Literally, that's what the card says, which is just absolutely insanity. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this deck profile. If I was to do a side deck, I'd probably do like, I don't know, probably like a counter to multiple different decks. You know, probably a counter to like Tri Brigade, maybe a counter to what Invoked, perhaps. You know, add cards like Ghost Bell and whatnot, or even also cards like DD Crow could also be useful as well. So again, if you guys want to see a side deck for this deck, let me know in the comments below, and I'll show it off on Instagram, and you guys could get an idea of what I was trying to pull with this deck. But that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.